The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means here on the channel. It is the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interested you, and there was a heck of a lot of toy news this week out there. A lot of business hat talk here today. I should have wore a hat in honor, as we got a lot of things to talk about. We got Heman, what's the future hold? We got some wrestling stuff. Are the Saudi Arabians going to buy the WWE? A lot of other talk, and also some Hasbro business talk on top of all the other toy news this week. So a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into, but first, let's kick off some housekeeping here. Thank you guys, all you new subscribers out there. We're dangerously close as of filming this to 25,000 subscribers on the old YouTube channel. Appreciate each and every one of you guys taking the time to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. And if you haven't done it yet, what are you waiting for? Make sure you do subscribe to this channel. As you guys see, we got videos every single day. And then some. A lot of content on the channel, as you guys know. Like a young James Brown. Somebody get me my cape. That's what I'm talking about there. Well, let's kick it off here. The Patreon, of course. Patreon, your best way to support the channel, content like this. We do have a giveaway for January. This month's giveaway is the brand new The Rock Greatest Hits Series 1 Mattel figure. And, of course, the Luminaries AEW unrivaled, or I should say unmatched on this one, Chris Jericho. So this is January's giveaway. If you want to be a Patreon member, be entered in to win one of those. We do monthly giveaways there all the time. Early access to videos, bonus content, all that kind of stuff. And I counted it up the other day. After this weekend, it'll probably be over 150. But as of right now, you got over 140 videos that are not on traditional YouTube. You could be a year ahead in Jack's Classic Superstars videos. All kinds of content over there. Like I always say, best way to support the channel if you are so inclined. Another housekeeping note, this Wednesday night, I think 8 o'clock Central Time, figure out your time zone, I will be over on the Dave Wheeler, Dave Wonder YouTube channel for a live stream. I'll be talking with my old friend Dave Wheeler. He's got some stuff he's been doing for me, and I'll probably be up there in a month or two as well, probably at his house for a live stream. But I will be on that, so next Wednesday, mark your calendars if you want to chat live, get in the discussion, all that kind of fun stuff. Feel free to do that. But now let's get into the toy news this week. Let's get after it. Let's put on the old business hat and let's take these things one at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, as they always do say. And here's a news article I forgot to mention last week. It was in, what was this? Market Watch, which is fairly respectable. I think a lot of people do know of Market Watch, but the tagline here is, Hasbro's holiday season was likely among weakest in North America. North America toy industry amid COVID hangover, analyst says. 2 years of cleaning Play-Doh out of carpets and rugs. We think parents are done with modeling compounds for the time being. Well, we don't talk a lot of Play-Doh here, but it does get into... they also said Hasbro's action figure offerings from Transformers, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Marvel appeared tired and said demand for Black Panther toys had slowed after a strong start. He said that a strong movie slate for 2023 hopes to increase their business. Of course, they're going to say that. Now, it does say tired brands. Now, the G.I. Joe one I take as a dagger to the heart. How dare they bag on G.I. Joe Classified series. But what that is, though, is what we've been saying on the channel for a long time. I'm not necessarily Nostradamus, but I do play one from time to time. But what we've been talking about on this channel for almost a year now probably is, hey, COVID demands, they were huge. COVID demands have went away. It's all supply and demand at the end of the day, whatever we're talking about here. Demand has significantly dropped. I did see quite the uptick in my stores personally, in my toy hunts, Friday figure hunt videos, of course, around Christmas. It seemed like a lot of people were really waiting to the last minute, but my stores cleaned up a lot better than I thought they would going into the first of the year. I'm seeing clearance, but not as deep as I would have thought in my own area. Your area may differ, as always. But I do think they had problems because toys went up in price. So little Johnny under the Christmas tree, maybe you used to get 3 Transformers, maybe you only got 1 or 2 this year because of the price hikes. That would happen. Then you take in the COVID ordering system, all that kind of stuff at the Targets and Walmarts, and it was just a recipe for a little bit of a disaster. Store pegs still extremely full, even after Christmas. Walmart, we've been talking about it, not the deepest of clearances for whatever reason. I expect those to get a little deeper towards the end. Usually they have about a February reset time frame, as we do know Target resetting currently as this video is being filmed. But I do think part of like G.I. Joe Classified series does an awesome job. They move off the pegs in all the stores, all the travels I do. What I think that is looking at is maybe some of the basic assortment stuff, but primarily the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie wave. There's a lot of Targets out there. Pegs are full of the Snake Eyes wave. Nothing else gets to come in. I'm sure some of you guys have some Targets like that. So it was definitely a tough holiday. When you take the demand drop and a price increase, your units are going to be down. There's no really escaping that. You got to take some lumps, got to take some losses, and we'll see what Hasbro does to reset the wheel. Hopefully it's not job losses, things like that, but you never do know. We'll see what 2023 brings. Apparently they got high hopes for a lot of movie offerings in figures. We'll see what happens there, but just keep the G.I. Joes coming. Keep those Joes coming. But definitely interesting, and does speak to what we've been talking about on the channel for 8 months to a year, saying this is going to happen. And I think even the Mattels of the world, maybe not in as bad a position, or maybe just not a part of this article, but I think all toy suppliers out there have a little bit of this as well. So I wanted to cut that off. The next business hat topic is, I've seen a lot of people posting, I've seen a lot of messages to me about this. What does the WWE sale mean for Mattel? What does that mean for all that kind of stuff? And I think people are looking way too deep into this. Obviously, there's no concrete evidence or there's no announcement on the news or anything that the Saudi Arabians have bought the WWE. We'll see what happens. Stranger things have happened. You never do know. But one thing I do know, no matter if you're from Saudi Arabia, if you're from the Philippines, maybe you're from Australia or Japan, or maybe you're right here in America in the Midwest. One thing is for certain, and I don't care what we're talking about, follow the money. At the end of the day, you follow the money. Whoever's going to pay the most, whoever has the most, they're usually going to get in. They're going to do that. So if Saudi Arabia comes at it with a ton of money, guess what? They'll probably sell to them. That's probably what will happen. But that being said, do you think Saudi Arabia is going to sit there, and I'm just saying Saudi Arabia, whatever the investment group or whatever it is, if it's the world of Saudi Arabia, I'm not the government, who knows? Are they going to say, okay, Mattel brings us in $10 million a year, whatever that number may be. It could be higher, it could be lower, whatever it is. Are they going to say, yeah, we don't want that $10 million. Yeah, let's just get rid of it. We don't like toys anymore, get rid of it. I don't see that happening. I really don't, because there's a lot of people, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves out there. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what political affiliate you are, any of that kind of stuff. But there are so many people, and I'm sure you can think of some, or who knows, maybe you are one, I don't know. But there's people out there that are always preaching all the time. If Biden wins, I'm leaving the country. If Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. And they say it all the time. Well, guess what? If it doesn't happen, let's say you were saying if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. Trump wins, you don't leave the country, you're the boy that cried wolf. You've lost a lot of credibility with me. That's at least how I view people. And there's always people at your work, probably, you can think of somebody there. I'm going to quit. I hate this place. I hate this place. But they never do. They lose credibility. And that's what happens here with some of the Saudi Arabia. You've seen a lot of these people saying, I'm quitting WWE. I'll never watch again. Well, we all know that there's a lot of companies that, whether we know it or not, are involved with Saudi Arabia or whoever we're mad at or you're mad at personally, whatever. We just got to take that big step back and just relax a little bit. It's good to stand up for your rights. It's good to have that kind of stuff. But man, don't let it ruin your life. Just don't let it ruin your life. If that's the way you're going to go to life, I mean, this isn't a TED Talk or anything, but there's a lot of people saying they're going to give up WWE. I'm done with them forever. I'll never support it. Man, don't be that guy clamoring that all over social media, because 6 months from now you're going to be posting, I can't believe Cody Rhodes didn't win the world title or whatever it may be. You're going to look like a fool. So you got to be careful what you say, especially on the internet, because that stuff sticks around forever. I got so many videos people are going to come back around on. Who knows, but I will say that right there. But I don't see anything happening with Mattel. Now, we've talked about this before, and I've given past experiences as I've been of a lot of mergers of companies. I've been a part of these job eliminations, things like that. I've been around a lot more of that than I would like to have been in my career, but I've always, thankfully, fingers crossed, I'm still viewed as the young guy, so I'm usually okay in there, but you never know what the future may hold. But one thing is for sure certain, usually when there's a change like that, let's say Saudi or whoever buys it, you're not going to see a ton of immediate changes. You might see some leadership roles at the top, some of that stuff, but it usually takes about a year because they got to understand the system, what's going on, how's this company, WWE, operate, how's this going, what contracts do we have, what's going on here. Now, there's going to be all that kind of discussion, and they're not just going to change it overnight. Okay, we signed the dotted line. Mattel, you're out. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They might have a contract for Mattel for 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 1 year. Who knows? They'll let that contract ride most likely, unless both sides are losing money, something like that, which is not the case. they will be fine. And I don't see Mattel going anywhere because just like everybody else, Mattel at the end of the day, they also like money. Believe it or not, they like money. If they lost the WWE portfolio, that's a huge hit. Where are they going to make that up from? I don't know. Are they going to go to the Impact and get Impact figures? Well, we already see that with Wrestling Trader, or is it Boss Fight? Now I'm getting myself confused. But I just don't see it. Mattel's not going to give up that cash cow. It's just not going to happen. WWE, they know Mattel is one of the big two. Mattel and Hasbro. I don't see Mattel going over to Hasbro. I don't think Hasbro can take on the WWE line. I just don't think there's going to be any changes to our wrestling figures. Now, maybe there might be some changes where maybe a wrestler like Sami Zayn, we know how he feels about Saudi Arabia and all that. He doesn't go on those shows. He may quit the WWE. He might say, hey, because of my moral convictions. And man, props to that dude, because if you stand by what you say, you're okay in my book. So we'll see what happens. There might be more of those performers that say, I am done. They're going to give up a big contract, all the fame, fortune, whatever. They may do that. But as a whole, I don't see this changing a whole lot anytime soon. I just don't see it happening. There's too much money to be made. And at the end of the day, it's amazing. Believe it or not, people put their religious beliefs, they put things to the side if it makes them $1 or $2. And that's just the hard facts right there. So I wouldn't lose any sleep over this at this point yet. Heck, they haven't even announced a buyer yet. So that's my take on that. But as usual, follow the money and all that kind of stuff. There's too much money in merchandising, licensing, and all kinds of stuff like that. So take that for what it is. Now I want to get to the other one I've got a ton of messages on, and I watched the video myself, and it was the Spectre creator. Of course, Scott, was it Nightlick or something like that? He was the old brand manager on the Masters of the Universe brand. Well, he came out with a video, I believe it was on Thursday, saying, guys, sorry, we're folding our tent, we're packing up shop. I've heard from 3 of my sources on the inside. They didn't talk to each other, all this stuff, and that was the video he put out there that the Masterverse, of course, the new Eternia, things like that, Masters Universe Revelations, and the Origins line for He-Man and the Masters Universe is calling it quits. They're folding their tent up. The line has been canceled, and he did mention April there's going to be, they're on the planograms right now. They're getting the last waves in at Targets, of course. In April, they are off the planogram. They're off the planogram at Walmart, and he says this is confirmed 100%. Well, here's my take on this, and a lot of you guys have asked for my take, and he should know more than me because guess what? He worked on the inside. He's been there, but we do know a track record of his videos. He's been claiming gloom and doom for like the last 3 years. So it almost goes back to what I was just saying earlier. It's the boy that cried wolf scenario. Maybe he's trying to get views and clicks. I don't know what he gets paid out from YouTube, but it can't be that much to ruin a reputation, you would think. But it just seems a foul. But I will say, this is going to surprise some of you, I wouldn't be totally shocked if this was the case, and we've talked about this way back when, like maybe 2 years ago on the channel. A lot of you guys probably weren't even here for those talks, but we talked in a lot of the toy news portions of our weekly purchases videos. We talked about Skeletor He-Man Origin figures. That's all you could find. They stopped other sets from getting to retail because they were clogging the pegs so bad. And we got to take that business step back. We got to be honest with ourselves. Think of your local Target. How many Masterverse figures of She-Ra and Hordak are there? King Grayskull, Trapjaw. You go to the Origins wave, Jitsu, Naked Stratos. Those guys are clogging the pegs. And I can give my personal experience here as far as dealing with Walmart and Target, with companies that I worked for, selling into the companies, selling in at the senior leaders' offices. I can tell you what, Walmart's, Targets, whatever retailer, they have their own triggers of how many items should be moving on a daily basis, things like that. If you go down to an Oreo, man, you better be selling 50 units of Oreos a day to warrant your shelf space. It's all about warranting shelf space because guess what? There's always some other vendor, always some other manufacturer that wants that space on the retail pegs. Now let's go to the toy aisle. Masters Universe, are they moving very well? My gut, as much as I love the line, one of my favorite things to collect, you guys know how excited I get about that stuff. Heck, we review them all here on the channel. I don't think they move very well. They really don't. I don't know if it's the adult collectors that are after these, and I know in the video, the Spectre creator video, he said they should be back in the NECA set, which makes sense, but not at the same time doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I'm not going to get into all that. but they aren't turning and burning. Mattel Elites, man, they turn and burn on a fairly regular basis. Of course, we got the female figures that sit there. And then you talk about AEW. We've seen AEW space cut back because of the Rios of the world, because of the Shidas and the Ty Contis and Anna Jays and the Ortiz and Santanas that plug the shelves up. So if they're not turning and burning, there's new toy lines to bring in, and that's what they're going to say. Sorry, He-Man, we know you, we love you, but you got to move. We got something else that might sell a little bit more, because we have to always remember, follow the money. Target is a business. Walmart is a business. And that's just what I could see. I could see that as a real possibility, unless Mattel says, okay, guys, I know all this stuff is going to clearance. Walk into your Targets right now. There's a lot of Masters Universe stuff on clearance right now. I don't know the business relationship between Mattel and Target in this example. Are they paying money? Are they crediting some of this? Target taking a total loss? If Target's taking a total loss, man, I'm sick of taking this loss all this time. I'm sick of breaking even. We need to turn and burn, get something new. I could definitely see this happening. And I know some online have said there isn't a reset in April. They do February and a fall one. Well, it depends what your verdict of reset is. Yes, they do a major one in February. They do a major one in the fall before Christmas. Those are some major resets. But they do one in April. They do one in July. And I think even sometimes in early August as well. And they refreshen up. They move some things around. Maybe they're not gutting the whole aisle, but they are definitely making some changes. So that could be true. I know some people are calling them out saying, oh, there's no reset in April. There very well could be a reset in April. But it is going to be an interesting story to follow here. Now, some people in that video, too, he mentioned maybe it could go online. And online is definitely better. You go back 10 years ago, online sales have skyrocketed across the board on everything. But there's something special and fun and seeing stuff on the pegs. Well, that doesn't really matter. That matters for nostalgia, but it doesn't matter for companies. As long as they're selling the product, they don't care how it moves as long as it's being sold. I don't know if the demand there is there for He-Man online to go and get your Origin figures and things like that. I mean, if they can spin it just right, if they can go to Mattel Creations and say, every month we're going to have a new Origins figure. It's going to be like a club, like the old G.I. Joe club or the old Masters of the Universe club. They could very well do that. That could be a possibility, but I don't believe they will get the units they need to be into production to be the cost right. You know, it'll be, instead of $18 to $20 an Origin figure, it might be $30 because it's online only. Without Walmart and Target, you really are doomed on a lot of that kind of stuff. Yes, Amazon is a big deal. Yes, there's the Entertainment Earths and the big bad toy stores of the world. But it's not enough without Walmart and Target. It's just very tough to succeed. I can tell you in the grocery industry firsthand, I've worked for many companies, if you lose your space at Walmart, that item is going to be deleted. It's just not going to make it, because without the Target and Walmart stores, the buying power, the amount of volume they push through, you can't meet your minimums, all that kind of stuff. And your Krogers, Albertsons of the world, whatever your retailer may be of choice, your Piggly Wigglies, you're not going to have those anymore, because Walmart and Target said they don't want anything to do with it. And especially Walmart, they have a lot of power and all that. So I don't know if he's right or wrong. Obviously, he should have more inside knowledge than I would, so I'm going to give it at that. But we've seen his track record. He's said a lot of this stuff in the past. It has went nowhere, but you never do know. But then, of course, at the same day he posted that, they announced a new Mattel Creations figure. So we're going to talk about that in the news in a little bit here. But I would take it with a grain of salt for now, but I could see it having some troubles in the future, because it's just not turning and burning as much as I want to believe. I just don't think the younger generation, the kids of the world, they are not picking this stuff up. It's just not happening. And I see it with my own kids. They're not really into toys anymore. It's all about iPads and things like that, video games, things like that, and toys, just, it's not the same as it used to be. And I think we'd all agree on that one. So wanted to break down those 3 business hat things there. I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I think people, as usual, it is the internet after all, get a little bit too uppity sometimes, but we'll take it. We'll see what happens, and we'll be back in these videos talking all about it. So there's the old business hat. How about a little bit more business hat, a little bit different one here? Of course, Super 7. You guys know I love Super 7. You know, there's been a lot of feedback about my post and my review on the Andre the Giant Super 7 Ultimate. And you got to call it out. I mean, I try to be fair. I'm not going to just harp on something. Now, if something breaks, I'm going to be a little bit more critical. But Andre, he didn't break for me. But was it a good figure? It wasn't. And you guys can check those videos out yourself. It's just a big time struggle there with that Andre the Giant. So I don't know what's going to come of that. I think I was fair in my review. I really do think I was probably nicer than I could have been. And that's what some people have said. But, you know, I got to be diplomatic. I got to look somewhat credible here, I guess, and you got to just call it for what it is, and I think I was fair. I'm not going to sit here cuss about it and say a bunch of bad words and things. That's just not my style, as you guys have seen in the videos, but I think I gave it its bumps it did deserve. But Super 7 continues on with more wrestling figures, but unfortunately canceled wrestling figures, and maybe it's time for Super 7 to get out of the wrestling figure game. We know the New Japan line was canceled, unfortunately. There was a lot of mixed results on those figures because the prototypes looked amazing. The actual product, a little bit less than. And we know Super 7, they kill it on Thundercats. They're going to kill it on G.I. Joe, man, they better. And Power Rangers too, but also like the Ninja Turtles and things. They do great stuff on that, but something about the human head is just not working. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they can't figure it out. We'll see what happens there, but they did cancel Series 2 of the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. And I don't think it had anything to do with them going back to the WWE. I will say, though, I do assume we will get WWE figures of them in 2023, so you can look forward to that. But we do know the first round of those didn't sell so hot. I mean, they have a name, but do they have a big enough name to carry the load? And I don't think so, because we've seen these guys go to such clearance at the Entertainment Earths of the world. Amazons, you name it. So round 2 was really suspect to me. I was a little bit inquisitive why they would do a round 2. I don't know if there was a chirping, clamoring for that. Well, they officially announced this week they are canceling that. Now, I think they've had things before they've canceled at Super 7, but this was the first time they actually went to pre-order and then came back and canceled. Everybody will be refunded, all that kind of stuff. But I just don't think there was enough meat behind the bone on these guys to get these through. But what does that mean about future series of Super 7? Like stuff like this Andre the Giant does damage some credibility with them. And I don't know, in this day and age too, with inflation and more expensive and so many options, I got to think as a whole, Super 7's pre-orders are being hurt, especially when you see the Entertainment Earths of the world dropping sets very, very fast in price. It's like, well, why pre-order? Why don't I just wait for them? Entertainment Earth, Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, whoever, I'll wait for a discount, get those. I've been guilty of that in the past as well, and it's not supporting Super 7 how they need to with their business model, but at the end of the day, we got to vote with our wallets. We got to do what's best for our wallets. We're the only ones that are going to look out for our wallets. Mattel, Hasbro, that Super 7, they're not looking out for our wallets. We have to. So if you got to get a deal, you got to get a deal. So I think that is hurting some of Super 7. And I think there's a lot of people that used to pre-order that have stopped. Now, the danger in that is if enough people do that, they don't create because they really bake to order. And Entertainment Earth's probably like, hey, we're having to discount these. We're not going to order as many. There wasn't as many pre-orders. I could see later this year or starting very soon that, hey, there's not going to be as much Super 7 product at all. Entertainment Earth will take care of the pre-orders. Super 7 takes care of the pre-orders. Very little, if any, left after. We could get back to those days. So it'll be interesting to see how this all nets out. Now, they haven't talked about the Matt Cardona, Brian Myers one. And I should go back and say, once again, playing Nostradamus, I said 3-4 weeks ago here on Toy News that I had a good feeling the Good Brothers were canceled. We talked about that, and it just did come out this week. So I had a gut instinct because they weren't promoting it, they weren't pushing it, they weren't giving updates. I felt like they were totally canceled, and there you go, I was correct. So who'd have thought? But Matt and Brian, they did announce some things. They're supposed to be coming out in November, I think December of 2023, so we got a long ways to go.
We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Haven't heard those have been canceled or anything like that, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting future for Super 7. I really do like Super 7 stuff. We're going to look forward to that next Andre the Giant. Hopefully we get some improvements on the yellow version because it's had a rough week out there, I think, to put it mildly. So we do have that. So now let's get into some more wrestling news. There was some interesting toy news that really not necessarily came out of left field, but surprised a lot of people. And let's start it off with a really hot one. As of right now, you can go to Boss Fight or you can go to Big Bad Toy Store, but you can pre-order MLW figures to come later on this year. Now, Boss Fight, of course, makes the Legends of Lucha Libre figures. We've unboxed some of those. I believe Lady Maravella is up on Patreon. We'll have Conan on Patreon probably this weekend. So we have unboxed those, of course, going back to Ray Phoenix, Juventud. We've unboxed a few of those. So I do anticipate these to be in the same style. But they did put up pre-order for Series 1. Mads Kruger, not super familiar with him, but I know he did leave MLW. I actually watched a lot of MLW before COVID, but I missed out actually since they came back. But the MJF days, the Von Erichs, I think still there. Alexander Hammerstone, those guys. But we got Mads Kruger, Alexander Hammerstone, Jacob Fatu. That's going to be interesting to a lot of people. And then the sleeper surprise one here is Killer Cross. Now this probably just goes back to contracts because we knew this was in the works for a long time. How long ago was this line announced? A year ago, 9 months ago, something like that. At the time, Karrion Kross, Killer Cross was not in the WWE. And I think it's one of those things, he was signed, it was already done, and this is part of that old contract. You won't see any more figures going forward, but this one will get through. So that'll be an interesting one. It'll be interesting. I can see people saying, oh, this is a guy I really know. A lot of people know I want it. Or, hey, I don't need this because he's in WWE. We have elites. We have more elites coming. It'll be interesting to see how Killer Cross sells. I'm all in on this. I love new toy lines, new wrestling lines. I want to see what all the fuss is about. I want to see how these are. They're also releasing a belt pack with these. Very expensive figures, but that is to be expected because this isn't Mattel, this isn't Hasbro, this isn't even Super 7, this is Boss Fight. Scaling is going to be the issue one. We see that with the Legends of Lucha Libre. Man, I hope Boss Fight goes back and gives us a little bit better scaling. We'll see what happens with this, but I'm excited about this. I know it's not going to be for everybody. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, but new wrestling lines, people taking a chance. It's quite what a time to be alive. That's what I'm going to say there. So MLW figures coming. Pastel Toys, we've talked about him a lot. Smoke Train, the old Godfather, it is up for pre-order from him right now. First 800 people, you get your name on the back of the card, and I got to give props to that. That is a smart idea. We see that all the time with books, for example. Hey, you want to be an early supporter of this book? Pay $10, you get your name in the back of the book. It's one of those really cool things. I've been a part of that before. There was a Rush book back in the day through like Metal Hammer magazine. I was a part of that. I had my name in the back of that book. It was a fun deal. And I think that's a smart way to think outside the box in the action figure game. So Hassel's got to get his props. You got to give him his props there. Hopefully it doesn't have like really shrunk down that you got to get the old magnifying glass out to find your name. We'll see how that goes. But very interesting. It is up for pre-order right now. Savio Vega sound like he's coming right around the corner as well. So Hastel, he's getting in there. It's going to be interesting. Retros in 2023 as we keep talking about. So more on that very, very soon. I will talk about the Dynamite Kid, of course, the Cella Wrestling Trader Dynamite Kid. A lot of people have reached out to me. Where did you get yours from? Well, I pre-ordered from Figure Collections, and I pre-ordered from the Asylum store. Somehow Figure Collections got them. That's what I unboxed on the channel. The Asylum store has yet to get there. So they did send out an update via email for all those orders. It said, sorry about the delay. There was issues with Cella getting them to the ports or whatever it may be, but they are coming fairly soon. So if you got the Dynamite through Asylum, hopefully coming here in the next month or so, so be on the lookout for that. A good figure. Is it great? No, but it works perfectly to put with your British Bulldog in your Mattel Elites. It definitely works for me. It is a way because we're not going to get one from Mattel anytime soon. I did get the Chase edition, and I will have an extra one of these Dynamites, but it's already spoken for one of the Patreon members, so we'll talk about that when that day does come. Oh, we did hear some announcements this week, and not official from Mattel, but take it with a grain of salt. But it sounds like Greatest Hits, WWE Greatest Hits, Series 2, of course, a yearly series, a re-release of older figures, things like that, which we're going to get to right after this as well. But it sounds like Undertaker is coming, Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins, Batista, which will be the Blue Tista, King Harley Race, as we know, and then Diamond Dallas Page. So it sounds like that is going to be Series 2, expected in July. Have to think maybe May, June, around ringside time frame. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. But speaking of ringside, they blew up the internet, and I think once again it was maybe on Thursday. Bret Hart Ultimate Edition, Triple H Ultimate Edition, coming back to retail, much like the Brock Lesnar, Shawn Michaels. Man, there's a lot of people that are mad. There's a lot of people that are happy. I totally see both sides of the fence here. And going back to the infancy of this channel, I've always said it. If you're investing your future in toys, you're making a mistake because you never know what might happen. If you really want to invest in something, it's not fun, I know. Invest in your 401k. That is a proven track record. It always will grow. You'll have some dips and valleys, but it will grow a lot more than toys. Toys should be fun. Don't get too swept into it. Yes, it sucks. I have those guys mint on card in my personal collection. Yeah, they just got devalued, but guess what? I bought them at retail prices at Target when they came out for 25 bucks, whatever it was at the time. I'm not out. I didn't pay $300. Those that paid $300 last week to get this announcement this week, that absolutely sucks, but it is gambling really at the end of the day in some ways. And I've said it before on the channel, I'm going to say it again. Mattel wants every dollar out of your wallet. They want every coin out of your pocket. All of these retailers do. If they see a way to make money off of you, they're going to do that. And they see a demand for those figures. They see the eBay prices on that. Why don't we re-release it? We got the molds. We have everything. It can be re-released. They want the money. It's been a couple of years. Hey, there's new fans in here that missed out, whatever. Mattel sees an opportunity. Hasbro sees an opportunity. Super 7 sees an opportunity. They're going to take it. That's just the way it does shake out. So that's the way it's going to happen right there. So I'm not surprised. We'll probably see more of this stuff in the future. Hopefully there's some tweaks. I always say if Patel's going to do that, just give a little tweak. Give a little different coloring, something like that, because then you can appease some of your longtime fans that have stuck with you for a long time. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they don't. The greatest hits line, you got double jointed elbows. You got some of the pinless joints, things like that you didn't have in the past for some of these figures. That's enough of a difference to make them a different. But I don't know if we're going to get that on these Ultimate Editions, and I would expect more of these Ultimate Editions. And it's really funny, if you guys remember back, if you're a longtime collector, when this Triple H and Bret Hart hit the shelves, they didn't set the world on fire. Bret Hart went to pretty good clearance at my Target. So did Triple H. You know, it was really tough. There was definitely a point in the Ultimate Edition series where I really thought they were going to be deleted because they just were not moving. It was the Shinsuke Nakamura Ultimate Edition time frame. It's really crazy how much that line has grown and changed over the years to being one of the tip-top lines that a lot of people only collect the Ultimates. So expect more of that. I think it's just the way of the future. That's the way it's going to be. So I wanted to report that news as well. Now to a little bit of miscellaneous news. Frogmonger coming to Mattel Creations on the 17th of January. Of course, talking Masters of the Universe. Frogmonger, one of the gremlins, or not gremlins, I guess he's a frog. He's a frogmonger after all. But was in kind of the jail in the Gray Skull. Now he's going to get a figure. Very, very cool. A limit of 3. Definitely need to get 2 of those. Looks really cool. I love stuff like this. And a very cool nod to longtime collectors is what I would call that. So Frogmonger coming the 17th. Be prepared for that. We finally got an announcement that everybody knew was coming, and I'm very excited for. It's Marvel Legends. Chode is going to be the Build-A-Figure for the new X-Men wave. Let me read off who's all in that wave here, if I can find my sheet. There it is. So we know we got Chamber, we got Monet St. Croix, we got Fang, Emma Frost, Kid Omega, and Cyclops, and then Chode is going to be the Build-A-Figure. I forgot, Corsair, not Cyclops, but you got Corsair there. So Corsair, a Starjammer, Chode, a Starjammer. As you guys go back to 6 months ago on the channel, I did my Most Wanted Marvel Legends. There's the top 2 right there. Give me the Starjammers. Very, very excited to see them. And Chode, a very easy repaint of the Abomination. It works in this instance, so I'm very happy to get those. Can't wait to get those guys in my collection this year. Batman 66, we saw King Tut coming. Very, very cool. I love this line. You guys know me, though. I'm a long game player on this line, but King Tut is coming. We also saw a Power Rangers stream January 17th, 30th anniversary of the Power Rangers. Hasbro's doing a live stream. Maybe officially announcing the re-releases with the pinless joints, the updated of the original lineup of the Rangers. Should be very, very interesting. I'm interested in that. I might even dabble back into the Rangers Hasbro if that is the case. We'll see what happens with all that. Kyle Rayner, the Blue Lantern. I guess this passed me by. Very easy repaint from McFarlane DC coming. Be on the lookout for that one. As we do know McFarlane, he doesn't mess around. It seems like there's a new announcement every single day. He is the hardest working man in the toy business. I don't think there's any denying that. There is all kinds of stuff coming out from McFarlane Toys. But if you like your lanterns, a Blue Lantern is coming your way very soon. So there it is. Quite the toy news this week. A lot going on. A long video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you enjoyed the business talk. Love to hear your comments on any of that kind of stuff. But we got to get to Album of the Week. Album of the Week, we're going to call it Single of the Week this week because personal good friends of the channel, the band Night Demon. You guys know my love for Night Demon. I talk about them all the time. I'm always playing their stuff. Absolutely love it. Hard-working metal band out there on the road, doing it right now. There's something great about the Judas Priest, the Iron Maidens, the Motorhead, stuff I love forever, of course. But to have a band that's currently there, putting out new stuff, playing all the shows, that's what Night Demon is. Man, if you haven't checked Night Demon out, man, what are you waiting for? Check them out. But on Friday, they released their new single from their new album. Outsider is the song. Check it out wherever you get your music. Part of Century Media Records, of course. But even better is March 31st, they are coming to town, and they have a new tour, and they are touring with Satan. You guys know the new wave of British heavy metal legends. Satan started with Iron Maiden and all that kind of stuff. A great band. If you don't know them, check them out. Their name doesn't represent what they sound like, if you can imagine that. But there was Satan and then a Haunt, another up-and-coming band, a really good one, got a lot of buzz over last year. So Satan, Night Demon, Haunt, touring together. But they are coming to Des Moines, Iowa, March 31st. It is a Friday night. I expect to see every single one of you guys there. Yes, we're all going to be there. We're going to party. We're going to hang out with Jarvis and the boys, Dusty, Armand. Who knows? Maybe they'll come over and check out the collection. You never know what you might see. But I'm so pumped to see Night Demon. It's been about 2 years. They're also playing, I think, Wednesday night of that week in Minnesota. I'll probably be at that show as well. So if you're going to the show in Minnesota, you're going to the show in Des Moines, man, come from Chicago. You come from Kansas City. You come from Omaha. You come from Minnesota, South Dakota. All roads point to Night Demon in Des Moines, and man, I will be there. So I'm very pumped, very excited about this March 31st. But check out their new single, Outsider. Definitely sounds like it's going to be a different album. I'm here for it. I'm all in on all things Night Demon. Very, very excited about that in the future. So much more to come on Night Demon. I'm sure that'll be album of the week when that does release. I believe March 17th is the release date for the full album. Can't wait for that. So there it is. There is the Toy News Action Figure News of the Week, a little album of the week to end things. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Any thoughts from you guys on any of this kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, dangerously close to 25,000 subscribers here on the channel. Who'd have thought? We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. But 25 coming very soon. We'll have another countdown. We did a top 10 for the 23. I still owe you a top 10 for 24, and it sounds like we'll owe you a top 10 for 25 as well. So we'll get those videos out the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget about weekly purchases tomorrow. An amazing week of weekly purchases. This is a very crazy weekend. Some big time purchases and weekly purchases this week, so you want to stay tuned to Sunday. Or, like I always say, if you're a Patreon member, you get these videos on Friday. You get early access to all the videos. Be a part of the Q&As, giveaways, early access to videos. You name it, there's a lot going on the Patreon, and you also do support the channel, as I always say. And you can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget to hit me up and follow along over on social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the Toy News of the Week, I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into the weekend. And I'll see you guys all real soon.